Hello Brawlers, Ace here with a video tutorial on the best items for ARAM. So if you don't know about ARAM, it's the new mode that came out, all random, all mid, where it's essentially 5v5 with one lane instead of towers, and it has been a blast. So I figured I went through every single item in the game and I decided to read through them and see which ones are going to be the best items for ARAM. These are going to be items that affect either everybody on your team or affects everybody on the enemy team. They're easy to trigger and they essentially give you either like damage resistance or damage versus the enemy team. They're all very good for ARAM specifically. Now, you don't have to build each of these items only when you play ARAM, and some of these items are going to be better on some heroes than other heroes. So let's get into it. Tainted Blade is the first item. So the big thing with Tainted Blade is when you're dealing ability damage to a blighted target, they'll take 5% more damage for 3 seconds. This is globally. So if a target is blighted and you do damage to them, they'll take 5% more damage from everybody on your team. This can be huge for burst, and 5% more damage is nothing to frown at. This is really good. It also has no cooldown, so if you keep somebody blighted, say a tank for instance, that tank will take on 5% more damage for the entire time. Next up, Flux Matrix. This is really good on heroes like Aurora and Richter. So not only does it give you good max health and big old magical armor, but nearby heroes take a flat 10% extra magical damage, and their tenacity is reduced by 20%. This means if you have a CC, let's say Decker Ball for instance, that stuns somebody for 1 second, they're now stunned for a second and 20% extra. That on top of the extra magical damage, Flux Matrix is really good on tanks right now. Let's go on to the next item. Everbloom. This is a little bit more niche to heroes that can heal fast and quickly, like Narbash especially, as well as FaZe I think would get some good use out of this. Muriel may also, but maybe not to quite the extent that Narbash would. So essentially whenever you heal an ally or shield them, you give them a flat 5% damage mitigation and 15% tenacity for 2 seconds. On Narbash, which can just spam out healing every few seconds continuously almost, this is a really good item. 5% flat damage mitigation for your entire team just for being close to them. That is huge. Citadel. Again, a tank item. Gives you some health, gives you some physical armor, gives you some physical power. This is good on any physical tank or any sort of physical bruiser. So here's the big thing, nearby enemy heroes have their physical armor decreased by 20%. So if you're tanking and you're in there in the fight, everyone around you has 20% less armor. On top of that, for each nearby enemy hero, you gain 5% extra physical armor. That means if you're in the fight and there's 5 people around you, you will have a total of 25 plus 35 is 60% or 60 physical armor. That is huge on a tank. This is usually a must buy if you're playing a physical tank. Let's go on to the next one. Marshal. This is good on any sort of a support character. Essentially, anyone around you gets 15% bonus attack speed. If you're playing with a setup that has, for instance, 3 carries or 3 or more people on your team rely on attack speed, Marshal is going to have a huge amount of value. On top of that, you're giving everybody extra on-hit damage. This will pay for itself if you're playing, let's say for instance, a Muriel or a FaZe, and you've got 3 or 4 carries on your team. This would really pay dividends. So let's go on to the next item. Void Conduit. Again, this will be good on pretty much any bruiser, any tank, especially if the enemy team has a lot of magical damage dealers. The big thing here, while near an ally hero, you both restore 0.5% of your missing health each second and 75% of your missing mana each second. This is almost broken because you can just kinda, after a big team fight, you can just hang back, hang out for a little bit, and everyone around you gets health and mana. Even if you build this on somebody like Narbash, you are now super healing everybody around you. Next up, Dynamo. If you have a tank or a support hero like Decker or Richter, and you build Dynamo, when you immobilize an enemy with your stun, they take 10% more flat damage for 2.5 seconds. You are going to be melting people. As long as your team is aware of what's going on and your team follows up on your stuns, you are going to melt anybody with this item. On top of that, you get a lot of you get some physical power or magical power depending on which type of hero you are. So this can really be built on any hero. If you're a support or a tank and you have a stun, build Dynamo. It is so good right now. Draconum. Draconum doesn't really have a very team-wide effect. It does give you a big ol' health boost whenever a hero is taken down. If you don't know, takedowns mean you get an assist or you get the killing blow. It doesn't matter. As long as you were in the fight and you damage the hero once, if they go down, you get this health back. You also, if you're an AoE hero that has a lot of AoE, especially if you're a melee AoE hero, you can get a lot of healing back here through their passive item. Leafsong. So this is a crest, it's not an item, but Leafsong is one of those items where it just gives your entire team a big burst of movement speed, makes everyone immune to slows, and makes everyone be able to run through other people as well. So if you have, say you're a tank or a support tank and your team is in trouble, you need to retreat real fast, hit Leafsong, everyone's gonna run away, everyone's gonna get away safe. Really good slept on item in ARAM. Up next is Tranquility. Again, if you're a healer, a Narbash, a Phase, a Mural, this is just a great heal and sustain item for your entire team. ARAM is all about health and mana management, and sometimes those healing pods aren't up, so just being able to throw out a big old heal for your team every few seconds. What is the cooldown on this? I don't know if it says here, but being able to throw out a heal for your team every 2 minutes or so is huge, and it adds up. Another crest, Sanctification. Same thing, you give a big old shield to everyone around you. I would go with Tranquility if you are a mage type support like Phase or Muriel, and I would go with Sanctification if you're more of a tank type of support like Steel or Richter. While the shield holds, you also get Tenacity, which means you are harder to CC. Really good item. And then Iceskorn Talons if you are a bruiser, or even if you're not a bruiser. This item puts down a large sheet of ice for 8 seconds. If your enemies are in the vicinity, they gain a flat 12% physical power for 3 seconds and movement speed. It also slows enemy units. So if you have a hero that has a dash or a jump like Greystone, jump into the middle of the group, pop Iceskorn Talons, and your enemies are going to have a bad time. It's a very, very good crest. Keeping up with the crests, Ortus. The big word here is takedowns. If you pop Ortus and an enemy dies, and you get the assist on them or the final blow on them, you get a permanent 2 physical power, and the duration gets refreshed. So if you are in a big team fight and you get a 5 wipe on the enemy team, you get a flat 10 physical power right there on the spot. And this thing is up all the time. You can use this whenever somebody's about to die. Free physical power. Works really well in ARAM. Very, very good on bruisers and on assassins. Give it a go. Crystal Tier. This is one of the support items. It helps. It's good on healing and shielding heroes. And it just gives, again, if you have somebody like Phase or Narbash that heals and shields continuously, giving everybody on the team 30 magical power, awesome. Everyone on the team 15 ability haste, awesome. This thing is just going to sit there in the background and make your team stronger than the enemy team, especially if you are about equal as far as gold goes on both teams. Astral Catalyst, this is surely the one you've seen a lot of mages build. If you're a mage that relies on your ultimate, like Howitzer, then Astral Catalyst is a go-to. Reyna also does very well with this, as well as Gadget. Essentially, every time an opponent is taken down, so you get the assist or you get the killing blow, your cooldown ultimate's reduced by 20. So if you get a 5 wipe on the enemy team and you damaged all of them, your cooldown will just come right off cooldown. It's really, really good. On top of that, it also does extra damage against shielded targets. So if you've got a Muriel on the opponent team, Astral Catalyst will be really good. It also has 80 magical power. That's kind of insane for how cheap it is. Let's move on. Warden's Faith. The big one here is the Mocking Presence. Nearby enemy heroes have their physical power reduced by a flat 8%. If it's your team going against an enemy team and all things are equal, this alone will make your team win because you are 8% stronger than they are. The Stalwart effect, where you take 20% less damage from critical strikes, is also very good if the enemy team has a lot of carries. Unbroken Will. This item is just so strong even in regular mode at the moment. On being immobilized, physical and magical armor is increased by 25% for 2.5 seconds, and this has no internal cooldown. So if they chain CC you, you're just going to have a ton of armor the entire time. Having this will make you almost unkillable as a tank once you get about 4 or 5 items. It is really good and it's nice and cheap as well. Echelon Cloak is a little bit of a meme item, but I figured it needs an honorable mention here. If you stand still for 2 seconds, you go invisible. On top of that, you get 1% of your health and mana back, so it's really good for sustain if you just got into a bad fight. You flash away, you run away, you hide in a corner. After a while, you'll be full health and full mana again. This kind of circumvents the issue in ARAM where you can't go back to your base to heal. This will give you a big goal heal over time if you can just stay out of combat. And since there are no wards allowed in ARAM, they can't just place a ward on you and see you. They have to actually come and find you. It's a little bit memey, but it works well on certain heroes. Try it on Richter. Try it on any hero that you can kind of sneak attack them and have a good effect. Stormbreaker. This is an interesting one, and I am probably going to make a separate video on this demonstrating how this works. But essentially, every 7 shots as a carry, you do a sort of a chain lightning kind of effect that goes between up to 7 targets. So if it's a big old fight and everyone's kind of close to each other, you're going to be hitting 7 targets every 4 hits. So I want to say it's 4 hits, it might be 5 hits or so. But if you have an attack speed hero, Twin Blast, Murdoch, anything like that, Sparrow even, you can get some real good value out of Stormbreaker by chaining these lightning bolts back and forth. It also helps you clear out minions really, really fast. Definitely not a first item buy, but maybe if you already have a bunch of attack speed, throw this one as your 4th or 5th item, and you're going to get a ton of value from these chain lightnings. Next up is Giant's Ring. Again, a very good tank item. If you get hit by basic attacks, which as the tank hopefully you are, your non-ultimate cooldowns are being reduced by a large amount. This means if the carries are spamming at their basic abilities at you and you're a hero like maybe Crunch, you're gonna get your abilities back almost instantly. I mean, it'll be like 1 or 2 seconds cooldown at most. It's very, very good for a tank, especially if you're going up against a physical armor heavy or a physical damage heavy team. Again, if the enemy team has maybe 3 carries, consider this item. It's really good, and when you hit your ultimate, you get a bunch of damage mitigation and so on and so forth, which is also very nice. Next up, Hexbound Bracers. This is a little bit of another slept-on item. If you are playing a tank that is very heavy on the mana usage, maybe like Richter for instance, Mana Reactor restores 20% of the damage taken as mana. So if a carry walks up to you, shoots you for 100 damage, you just gain 20 mana back. So you can see how if the entire team is throwing abilities at you and you're tanking it, you will essentially be a mana pool. You will never run out. Hex Guard is also very nice. You take a little bit of less damage from basic hero attacks. This is solid if you're going up against a physical damage heavy team. Really give this a go. Raiment of Renewal. This is again a little bit memey, but it's got an honorable mention. just the fact that you generate 3% of your missing health each second, and you gain 5% additional base health regen, if you can just disengage, for instance with Wukong or with Greystone or with Bale, if you can disengage and get out of the fight for a few seconds, you'll gain all your health back in no time. This thing has really powerful health regen. So give it a go sometime if you're playing a tank that relies on a lot of health. Fire Blossom. Nothing much to say here, we all know how Fire Blossom works. If you don't, when you're near enemy units, you deal damage to them based on your health. So if you're building a lot of health, maybe the 600 like from Raiment of Renewal, you're gonna be ticking damage around you on every single target, and that damage is gonna ramp up and ramp up and ramp up until they essentially just pop at some point. It's a really good item. If you're a tank that can get in there and stay in the fight for prolonged periods of times, this is really good. Quang works very well on this. And then that's it. That's every single one of the items that have a special effect or work really well in Arena. If you guys have any other items that I missed, or any heroes that particularly work well with the items I just went over, let me know in the comments down below. And let me know how you've been enjoying ARAM so far. I've been having a blast, and I'm hoping to put out a bunch more videos of it very soon. But anyway, thank you guys for watching.